Hi, kitty cats. All hand guys, are they here? Just quick thanks for joining this experience, the Dottore Chronicles. I'm looking forward to actually explaining why I'm calling this thing the Dottore Chronicles. But not yet, not quite yet. So, quick recap. Here's what's up. I'm in my late 40s. I'm a school administrator. I'm the director of a statewide cybersecurity initiative. I'm a college professor. I'm married to potentially the greatest living, actually probably the greatest woman of all time, Olinka, who is a lifelong educator, incredibly incisive in her ability to just peer into the minds of children, and in just a few moments recognize exactly what this kids need to basically become thriving, wonderful people. And she's been doing it for a couple decades now, and she's got kids, and she's got now actually not kids, adults all over the planet that reach out to her from all over the globe to say thank you, Olga Alexandrovna. That's what they called her. They called her Olga Alexandrovna. Her students did. Thank you for doing what it is that you did. Thank you for taking that call from me in the middle of the night from Germany, asking whether or not I should quit college or not, and reminding me of who I am. And that's the kind of lady I married. And she has amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is a disease that basically disconnects a person's ability to activate or access muscles. And you might think, okay, so maybe she's weaker or something. No, that's not what we're talking. Eventually, it's gone. It's all gone, right? Because we got muscles in places we don't think about. Like, for example, the tongue, right? That's a muscle. And unfortunately, over the course of the last 3 weeks or so, 2 weeks probably, she is starting to feel like her tongue isn't responding the way it has normally responded. She's starting to sense that her jaw, which is basically operated by muscles, is stiffening. It's harder for her to say words. Can you imagine? Can you imagine losing your voice? And not just your voice, your ability to make sound even. So it's been a rough couple of weeks, but I don't want to turn this particular episode into a woe is me, because I will be doing that plenty of times, I'm sure. I thought maybe I'd share something pretty cool that happened to Olga and I. All right, now this isn't going to sound like it's possible, but this actually happened. So let me give you the backstory as to how it all started. So first of all, if you don't know, well, you don't know me, so you probably don't know this about me, but before I got into education, I worked in the field of entertainment, right? And, I produced shows, wrote stuff. I traveled the country, worked at different amusement parks, Illinois, Six Flags Magic Mountain for you California peoples. I studied art. I have a master's in fine art, for example. I'm a very different guy. And I have worked very hard to take any of those pictures off the internet. So, if you find one, please help a dude out, right? Just let me know. Send me the URL, and I will track it down. Nothing like insidious. That's been the word of the week for this boy. But, stuff that would make me wearing these yellow glasses look like, child's play. So anyway, I came up in arts. I came up in expression. It's the thing that saved me. It's the thing that allowed me to, flourish in America after the emigration in the late 70s from Iran to America. So anyway, we can talk about my childhood stories some other time. But I've been in the world of arts, and I'm particularly interested in musical productions, plays. I'm a playwright, kind of. At least I've written a couple of plays, and I like that stuff. I like expression. Storytelling was my life. And then, I got into education because, I just needed something to pay the bills, right? And while I'm, becoming a world famous filmmaker, I decided I don't want to be a world famous filmmaker. At least that's what I'm telling myself. And I decided education was actually a lot more fun, a lot more interesting, a lot more stable, and that matters to an immigrant, right? Anyway, so I know I'm really interested in the arts. And back in January of 2019, I'm doing this in August right now, I saw that an incredible thing was about to happen in San Diego. A production of Miss Saigon was coming through Broadway, San Diego. Now, let me tell you about Miss Saigon. Miss Saigon is a Broadway musical, incredible piece of art. And it's basically a modern telling of Puccini's Madame Butterfly, which I don't know if you know Madame Butterfly, but if you don't, stop this video, look up Madame Butterfly, find a film rendition of it if you can, and just watch Madame Butterfly. Look at the majesty of the human experience. Man! So, the story is basically about an American GI, a Marine in Vietnam, right as the Vietnam War is wrapping up, who meets this, amazing young lady named Kim. Oh, and also the American soldiers came. Oh no, it wasn't the American soldiers. Yes, it wasn't. It was the Viet Cong. The VC burned down their village, killing her parents, killing her brothers and sisters and everything. So anyway, this Marine named John goes and meets this cool girl named Kim, who is now coming into Saigon because there's no more village, right? And so she's trying to make a living, can't make a living. And so she turns to hookery, prostitution. Anyway, first night out on the the dance room, I guess. There was this new club called Dreamland that's opened up in Saigon, and basically they have a nightly election of who will be Miss Saigon, right? And it's like a show they put on for the GIs who come in, and then the GIs pick the woman that they want to. I mean, remember, we're talking about a Broadway musical here, right? And this is one of the reasons why this play is rarely seen, like ever. Came out in 89 in the West End, and then 1991 it hit Broadway, and that was a peak nerddom for me when it came to, musical theater for this fool. And so I fell in love with Miss Saigon, and the music is just... That's what you're listening to right now, by the way. It's the soundtrack from that play. Some incredible music, like the movie In My Mind. Oh, it's incredible. This girl suddenly goes into a trance to try to get away from the fact that she's being basically raped and hounded by all these men. Of course, she's not exactly innocent in all of that, but, she's going through this process because she can't make money. She needs to raise a child, and so she goes into this movie in her mind and sees the dreams she left behind, and it is so fantastic. And what's genius about it isn't just how it fits into the story. It isn't just how beautiful the melody is. It's that it's all built around simple arpeggiation, up and down, like 3 chords. And it is haunting music, and it kicks the show off too. I mean, it's not the opening number, but it's like it really sets the mood and goes, listen, there's more going on in this story than a bunch of prostitutes dancing and kicking their legs and GIs coming in and having fun dancing together. No, there's something else happening here, and that's what kicks off the drama within the play. Anyway, the other reason why this play is rarely seen is because it requires a helicopter. So it ends, the first act ends with that seminal event of the Vietnam War when we basically pull out of Saigon, and say, sorry, we're out, good luck. And what was happening, there was some, I don't know if you know about this stuff or not, but I'm not trying to be rude by explaining it, it's just, maybe you don't know. So there was some, the helicopters that had to go land on the American embassy to get the American, employees out of there. And so what was happening is all of the Vietnamese who are seeing that the Americans are leaving and starting to freak out that what's going to happen, the VC is going to come in and take us, charge the American embassy to try to get on one of those helicopters. Anyway, and it's in that section, that's how the first act ends, when a helicopter comes on, and John, who is trying to find Kim in the crowd, can't find her and basically ends up getting on the helicopter, and the helicopter leaves, right? That's not a cheap practical. So I was really curious about how they're going to do it, because it's a very expensive thing to do, and they did it brilliantly. You know, they used lasers, incredible perspectives. They did a very good job. But that's an expensive thing to do. And then there's the weather thing, because again, if you know Madame Butterfly, you know what happens at the end, right? So rarely are you going to go to a Broadway musical where, you know, there's a suicide at the end of the show, right? So it's in San Diego, and I figure, hey, let's go check it out. It'll be a cool way for me to kind of introduce that part of my life, because Olga doesn't know about that side of me. I mean, I've told her about it because it was a very different meal, believe me. You know, and it's cool because I'm still in contact with some of my friends from those days, and it's just weird. It's weird because it's like we have a secret almost, you know. You know, I'll never tell. Okay, so what happens? A couple months later, we get the diagnosis of, ALS, and, what are you going to do? Not go see the show? And I was jacked up for a couple of reasons. My whole mode of operation during those first weeks of the diagnosis was to distract her, to try to have some fun. It was foolish of me, but I just know my wife, and I know she would spiral, and I think I did the right thing. But generally speaking, anyway, doesn't matter. So we go see the show, and she's just shaking throughout, man. I just felt like crap, and she was there, but she was watching the show. But we're talking about like deep, dramatic, melodramatic things, and she just found out that a doctor told her, hey, you should get your affairs in order because sayonara, it wasn't well expressed. The diagnosis was more than cold, but I get it. So we're at the play. It's the intermission, entr'acte, and I'm turning to her and I'm asking her how she is, and she's okay, because I'm telling you, y'all, the music, she's incredible. And Olga understands, it's not just a music lover. She gets it. She actually played piano herself. She learned to play piano. In fact, she bought me my piano from one of my birthdays as a kind of a encouragement for me to get back into it again, and she did a good thing, certainly. So she understands not only the mood and how it fits into the narrative, but also some of the arrangement. She recognizes some of the movements. So she was loving it, and I'm telling you, Miss Saigon's music, I mean, not all of it, but like the wedding ceremony, it is such a beautiful, beautiful piece. And it is probably the most romantic thing I've seen in a Broadway musical. I would say almost in anything. So let me tell you more about Miss Saigon. I'll weave in and out of the story of us seeing it and what it led to, which you're not going to believe. So that night that John and Kim meet, John falls in love with Kim. And Kim falls in love with John. It's one of those things where they meet in the middle of this hellfire called Vietnam War, and she has nothing but her child. He has nothing at all, and incidentally, he's conflicted about why he's even there, right? So in a way, there's a bit of a protest, that's expressed about the Vietnam War. So he's like, what are we doing here? Why am I here? And he's having an existential crisis at the start of the show. And then he meets Kim in this brothel, basically, and he sees that's why. That's why I'm in this hell, is because I was to meet her. And she doesn't recognize that immediately, but she does recognize that something special going on here, right? And she's terrified as well. And she doesn't know whether or not what she's feeling for this dude is her fear of not having something in the world, or if it's a real connection. I mean, this stuff is, it's Puccini, dude. It's Puccini, So anyway, here's what goes down, man. So apparently in the Vietnamese tradition, when a man and woman marry, there is a kneeling experience, there is a bathing experience of hands, and some exchanges that occur. But what happens is all of the girls of the village come and surround the two that are being wed, and they sing this chant. And I'm just chilled right now just thinking of it. You're listening to it right now behind me. It's called the wedding ceremony. And what ends up happening is Kim is kneeling down, asking, her forefathers, hey, why are you doing this to me? What should I have done? What is my role here? Why is this occurring? Please help me find my why. And John, who just had a night with this young lady, sees her kneeling there and walks up to her to comfort her and kneels down next to her, right? The girls in the village see this, right? So all surround and start chanting. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And haunting. That's the thing about Miss Saigon. That's the thing I think I love the most about it, is because it captures the tragedy more than anything else by these French melodic sounds. It's Alain Boublil who there is definitely a French tone to it, and of course, it makes perfect sense. Not only we're one of the creators French, but of course we're talking about the Vietnam War. We're talking about the France and Vietnam were deeply interconnected, and so there's that motif. But that motif is also in support of this deep sadness that should not have happened. I mean, if you think the Vietnam War was a good thing, you're wrong. Period. 57,000 Americans murdered, killed. Most of them, how old?
In Vietnam, he was 19. In Vietnam, he was 19.
Oh, by the way, probably in the millions of Vietnamese died. So for what? I'm sorry, for what? To stop the communists from taking over Cuba? What? Okay, so it was a bad thing. Vietnam was a bad thing. So, not to mention, it was in... okay, anyway, don't want to get into politics about it. So when he sits there, they start singing, and so John just goes, my God, it's lovely, but what does it mean? And she says, it's what all the girls sing at weddings. He panics, he goes, ibbity. Say what? And she goes, they didn't know what else to sing. And then he says, it's the most beautiful thing I ever heard, right? So she acknowledges that, look, we're not married, we're fine. It's not marriage, just relax. And he finds comfort in that and goes, what a beautiful woman, what an amazing soul, right? And he falls even deeper in love with her, okay? But here's the thing. She thinks they are married. It's a beautiful act of perversion and desperation and a search for solace by way of love, as opposed to rage. By love. And yeah, he would have probably wanted to marry her, but as a young kid, he's a young Marine. He doesn't know what he's doing. So, he thinks they're not married, but she secretly believes they are married. And when Nixon or Johnson pulls everybody out of Vietnam, she gets left behind. Her husband just abandoned her. Now, you're not going to believe the second act. But anyway, the point is, there is this incredibly intimate section that brought both Olga and I to tears. And Olga didn't even know what was really happening in the scene, because, it's hard for anybody, even if you're a native English speaker, to really understand what the exchange is, right? To understand the drama of the play, when they're being sung, when it's being sung, right? When the narrative is being pushed forth through melody. It's not easy for people to, follow it. But she didn't need to follow it, because the song, the spirit, and it ends with, "To Miss Saigon," right? And they all toast to Kim, the married wife. Beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful. So, it's intermission. I'm feeling like, crap. I brought my wife to this thing. I thought it would be fantastic. I didn't know she was going to get ALS. I didn't know this was going to happen to us, right? But so I'm walking around in the lobby trying to figure myself out, and I noticed that there's a new show coming into town. One Weird Al Yankovik, the Strings Attached concert. Now, I've never seen Weird Al Yankovik, but I need you to know something about me. I love Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Al Yankovic and I are very close. He doesn't know it, but we're very close. Grew up emulating the man. Thought it was genius. And the thing about Weird Al that very few people even appreciate is that he's not just a parody artist. He's a brilliant musician, like studio session level brilliant. He's incredible, and his range, get out of town. Listen to Weird Al, right? Get away from the nasal. Right? Try to see if you can listen through that for a second. His music he's got this one song called Hardware Store that you can't even read the lyrics fast enough to keep up with them. Even if you have the lyrics, you won't be able to read them fast enough. It is genius. It is genius. And a hilarious commentary on, middle America. So anyway, I say, I'm going to do it. I got to change this. I can't let this happen, right? Thinking that, she's going to love it. What does she know from Weird Al Yankovic? She knows nothing from Weird Al. So anyway, I buy tickets. I call my brother and say, hey, you want to come check it out? He loves Weird Al too. We grew up with the guy, And of course, Dr. Demento and the whole, parody thing. It's just fascinating. I thought it was really an art form that wasn't recognized enough. And that's because very few people can do it, Anyway, so she doesn't know Weird Al, right? I'm trying to explain Weird Al to a woman in her, 50s from Russia, right? It's culturally, it's difficult. I mean, it's not that she can't understand parody artists. It's not that they don't have parody artists in Russia. No, I mean, you have arrived as a musician when Weird Al covers your stuff, right? Otherwise, you're nothing. You're nothing. So, all right. So, a month or so goes by, and then comes this month, or maybe it was last month. I can't remember. Sorry. I'm not very lucid right now. It is currently, hey, look at that. It's 3:08 in the morning. Having trouble sleeping. You may have heard in some of my other vlogs. But I'm tired of sitting there and staring at walls, or walking at night. I'd just rather express myself. So we come to a Weird Al show. And it was during a horrible day. We got into an exchange. Nothing loud even, just real kind of dramatic, but not like at each other's throats. Actually, we don't ever go at each other's throats. We pretty much agree on things. And normally when there's something wrong, I'm wrong. And I say, okay, I'm sorry. And we fix it and we move on. So we just have a really good relationship, which makes this shit pardon me. Makes this stuff that much more of an absolute heartbreak, man. Absolute heartbreak. Can't even call it a heartbreak. It's a heart excision. Is that a word? Because if it ain't, trademark. All right, so Weird Al. Here we go. Now it's the day of the show, right? And we're in the car. My brother and his girlfriend Raquel came down, and I love those guys, man. I'm so lucky. My brother is such a cool cat. He's just a nice dude. He's hilarious. He's deeply philosophical guy. He lives, with a very conscious life, and I just adore that. And his girlfriend Raquel is like this fiery, strong woman who's like, dude, no, I'm not going to stand for this. And she just draws lines and then explains why they're wrong. That's the thing about her. She's not like a fight the power lady. She's not simple. She's like, let me tell you what's wrong with you. And I really respect that. I like her. So anyway, it's called the Strings Attached Tour, right? So we're like wondering what the, and I on purpose didn't YouTube it, didn't look into it, just because, he's on tour. He's been doing this because I wanted to see what is it going to be like. Now, my brother had previously seen Weird Al, and that upset me a little bit. I think I was living, where was I? I think I was in Canada at the time. I mean, that's why it didn't work out. We didn't go see it together. I don't think he was also, anyway, we're just in different places. So, but, again, if you don't know, I was a concert guy, name a band, and I'll tell you, chances are I've been to one, maybe two of their shows. Not obviously, I know it's stupid, but what I'm saying is a lot. Particularly a band named Fish, if you're familiar with the music of Fish, which is what we're listening to now. 39 shows, my friends. This dude, not like a, get in the van and drive around kind of way. Yet, that's not into that world, man. But what I was into was who these people were and what they were doing and the phenomenon of Fish, Anyway, so I like music and live shows and concerts, and I can get into that stuff. I have gotten into that stuff. I just forgot about that stuff. Got married, and had to make some adjustments in who I was to be able to, live in the, in the sunlight of this woman. I wasn't gonna say, hey lady, I am who I am. Hells no. This was an incredible opportunity. When I met Olga, I was like, oh, now I get it. When they say, I mean, it was a physical, literally, it's so weird because I can still feel the day I realized that, right? So I had just come out of this torrid relationship with this woman that I've been in love with and not in love with and friends with and not friends with. And, just long time. She was an old college friend of mine. And long story, but the point is I was coming out of this torrid affair. I'm sorry, not affair. I mean, incredible person. Just, unfortunately, things didn't work out, and I was kind of in the lost world. I just kind of pushed myself into education because I was being told I was good at it. I'm like, okay, well, shoot, you're gonna pay me to do this? Okay, fine. And then that stuff all fell apart, and I wanted to marry this woman. She was like the apple of my eye. Is that what you say about women? No, I don't think that's appropriate for saying that about lady friends. So anyway, and I met Olga because I was a ELD guy. I was an ES language acquisition guy for LA Unified. I worked for the district for a couple of years, basically training a lot of the ESL teachers across the district. And I worked with an incredible team, Isela and Terry and Debbie and Judy and you name it. These aren't exactly cool cats, man. I'm glad we've been able to stay connected, at least via Facebook over the years. But I just ran into Isela actually at a conference, and she was awesome. Rafael Gaeta, wonderful guy, is a principal of a high school in Los Angeles now. Good guys. And so Olga was a new hire at LA Unified. Remember, 30 years of teaching. This lady don't need to be trained, but all right. She's got to go through it, and if you're not in education, you probably don't understand this. But every time the legislation passes some sort of a mandatory law about what we need to do when it comes to curriculum, they almost always attach professional development, which is like, I'm going to cut my fingers off. At least I've gotten to a point where I'm not making the curls. Okay, so anyway. So she came to one of my presentations. So professional, that was the guy. I was delivering, 5 days, 40 hours of this, talking, showing, directing you to flip to this page. And they had to sit there for 40 hours. And our crew, the reason why we were good at what we were doing is because unlike most professional development people, we were putting on a show, we were there. We had to excite these people, because the district administrators, the cabinet wasn't exactly worried about, the fact that people wanted to pelt Coke cans at us because they're being forced to come and sit in some hotel for 40 hours just so they can teach this program. And it was a good program. I mean, a lot of people had issues with it, but everybody has issues with everything. So anyway, my wife, this lady, came to was assigned to me. So I had a captive audience for 40 hours. Now, mind you, it's like a room of 50 teachers, so, and I was a young man. Again, remember, I'm coming out of that relationship that maybe I'll talk about someday, but, so, me and my partner, who shall remain nameless, we're dudes, right? We're dudes in our mid-30s, right? And, we're constantly taking a look at, what our, professional colleagues are, how sharp they look, and how well-dressed they are. So, I noticed this one lady sitting in the back, right? Blonde, blue eyes, mysterious, kind of like, smoky almost like, you shouldn't walk too close to her. Because she'll suck you in. But it was just she was just dressed beautifully, interesting sense of fashion. But whatever. Anyway, so I think it was the last day, because by the second day they bought in. They go, okay, this dude is okay. He's not a shill. He's not just Anyway, I was putting on a show, man. That's what I do. Not because I'm good at it, it's just me. It's my nature. And unfortunately, sometimes I come across as insincere to people because people think I'm always putting on a show. And yeah. See them masks? Yeah, there's a reason I have a whole bunch of masks, and that's just a couple of them. So anyway, last day or so, we just wrapped up. We did a song just to keep people up, man. And people are breaking up. Dude, you were great. Thank you so much. Yeah, man, no problem. Hey, let's talk. That kind of scene. And then everybody's clearing out. And as the people are walking away, I swear to God, it's like this. It's like a scene out of, what's that movie? Oh, come on, dude. Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino stars with George Clooney. Anyway. Girl, ba 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 ba. A beautiful song with a young Selma Hayek and a albino boa constrictor around her. I swear to God, it was her, except it was Olga. Right, and she's coming at me, and I look to the right, and I go. Like a deer in headlights. I have no clue as to what's about to happen. I just know I need to surrender. So, she walks up and goes, "You look like an American who knows what he's talking about." Yes, ma'am, I do indeed. Never mind that I am not at all the person who knows what he's talking about. But yes, I'm a genius pretty much. So, what can I do for you? Or more to the point, to you. Yeah, I don't think I said that, but that's the kind of stuff I would say. Like, because I'm dumb. So we start talking curriculum, and I'm like, oh damn, she was actually listening. She picked up this stuff, and we, I was intrigued. I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually an an informed conversation. Most of the time, most of my conversation, even today, are just pat. It's just, oh yeah, bro, nice to see you, man. Yeah, I get it. You know what it is? That it's just this. It's happy talk. So I go, yeah, hey, you want to maybe go have dinner or something and we can talk about it? And she goes, sure. Right? So I'm thinking it's on, right? And I'm like worried about who's going to see this. I don't want any of the crew to see me walking out of the hotel with this, lady. And of course they all are. It's like, I think Karen was like, I think it was Karen. I think it was Karen. I think she was like watching me just to see what's this guy going to do right now? And Karen and I are great friends. Actually, I'd love to find her again. I can't find her. But so I can't tell you why, but I can tell you that between the time we left and where we ended, somehow things turned up into Starbucks, right? So we didn't go to dinner. We went to Starbucks instead. And I think one day we'll discuss that. But so we just hung out and we talked, and I was really intrigued by this lady. And unfortunately, being younger, I should say, I take responsibility for my actions then, but suddenly that feeling of it's own was replaced by something else. And now I know what it was. It was something genuine. It was actually real. It was actually two people who were intermingling, right, with ideas and stories and concepts and a verbal exchange. And I have this, I got it from my dad, I think. It's just, I'm very comfortable with language and I work with people, with accents all my life, all my professional life, really. I've been an accent dude. I'm an actor, I did a lot of accents. At least that's what my resume said. So, I can hear what she's saying, and she is using English like perfectly, right? It wasn't like, there were some statements that she was making that I was like really turned on by at the time. I remember that, but it was more of an intriguing thing. Like she would say, okay, but listen attentively. Wait till a hot blonde Russian lady sits across from you and says, okay, but listen attentively, right? Not in a condescending way, but more like a listen to me now. I'm telling you something that's going to alter what you think. And I don't know if it freaked me out or not. It didn't freak me out. I felt the real connection. There was without question chemistry there, but the fun went away and it was replaced by something deeper. And I was a little hurt by this other lady, right? And I was in a world where I was just dating people, and I didn't recognize what I had in front of me at that time, right? And the evening ended, and on my drive home, I drove her back to her car, and then she drove home to Hollywood. And on my way home to my little apartment in North Hollywood, I got a little call from this, at that time, ex of mine. I think she was an ex. See, we started as really good friends, and then she got married and moved to New York, and that dissolved horribly. And I told her it would, but what are you going to do, right? So, and I think, anyway, so, yeah, again, that's a whole different story. But, we reconnected again, and Olga wasn't in my headspace anymore, right? And she didn't call me, right? Now, again, I didn't call her, but, and of course, in the old world tradition is not the right word, but in the Eastern civilization, You know, it's considered forward for women to reach out to men. It's not an equality thing. It's not a power play thing. It's kind of like no, I'm a woman and I need to know that you want me, you know, and it's one of those things. And if I come at you, then I don't know if it's because you want me or not, you know. So there's some dudes appreciate that, you know, and it's not as if that's how it's always got to be, but, you know, that was something substantial. That was something of something that I didn't think I would ever find again, you know. I thought about many years later. So anyway, so got back into it with this lady, and it got even worse as things tend to sometimes when it's a passionate, you know, affair, if you will. Nobody was cheating on anybody. I just mean it was a passionate affair, and it started out as two incredibly good close friends, man. And I always teased her. She's a gorgeous lady too. Believe me, she was beautiful. God bless, man. Let me bring it back again. This time I'm done. It's finito. It's a year later, and frankly, I'm just not. You know, I get it. You know, it broke my heart. It wasn't going to happen. And I just had to leave and not even look back. And I decided to say, okay, well, you know, let's see what Olga's up to, you know. And I don't know. I want to say it wasn't kind of it wasn't a booty call, if you will. You know, it was more like hey, I wonder what happened to that lady kind of a thing. I don't know. Well, it turns out that I had just called her, like, while she was walking along the Hollywood Hills, in tears, wondering where I might be. I swear, dude, I swear to God. What happened to that guy? I wish he would call me. We seem to be connecting. And, you know, she's sobbing and going through this experience. And I leave him, and she walks into her apartment, and I'm leaving a voice message on her answering service. Come on, right? It's like that casuistry. Things are happening for reasons, right? It's not known to us the reasons, but if you see something happening, there's usually a good reason for it to be happening. Anyway, so, you know, she didn't know me before that point. She knew me as an educator at fourth, you know. In her mindset, that's what I was. She didn't know I was a playwright. I was a show presenter. I was a studio guide at Universal Studios, and, you know, I was an actor. And, you know, she doesn't know that world, and she doesn't know a whole bunch of other things about my life too, which again, not comfortable talking yet, but maybe someday. So, you know, she's there with me. We're having this fantastic exchange, and we come to the Weird Al show, and I'm setting her up and saying, believe me, honey, this is going to be a tremendous thing. And I'm trying to give her the backstory of how influential Weird Al was, not just for me, but for millions and millions of people. And we're having a wonderful time. And the reason the concert is called the Strings Attached concert is because he has a full-on orchestra start the whole thing up. And they play like a whole set. You know, they play, and what do they play? Brahms? No. Mozart? No. The theme from Superman, the theme from Star Wars, the theme from Raiders of the Lost Ark. The cool stuff, right? The cool stuff that you want to hear a big orchestra play. Awesome. It was a John Williams fiesta. Then they take a break, and Weird Al comes out, and he does a set, and he's amazing, and my brother and I are losing it. My wife loved the orchestra, but then this clown comes out and is like, are you serious? This is the dude you're worshiping? I'm like, jawohl, mon capitán. So what happens next, right? Just getting into it. I'm trying to have a good time myself because I'm going through stuff too, right? So Weird Al gets to his rendition of Happy by Pharrell. And ladies and gentlemen, Weird Al comes. I can't. Just watch. that happened. Weird Al Yankovic gave my wife a lap dance right next to me. And I was great with it. Because the two probably the most incredible things ever are right in front of me. And now, did you notice how Olga was like, get your penis out of my face, please? I love this lady because she's like, this is inappropriate. I'm in a concert. And she's not like a prude or anything, but, you know, you saw it? Weird Al starts, you know, doing the pelvic thrust. Oh, it's just a thing of beauty. So, yes, ALS is sucking the life out of us. It's destroying us. And I'm being Mr. Pepe Le Pew here. Plop, plop, as much power as I can, as much energy as I can, because I need to survive this too, and I need to be strong for her, and I need to be strong for everybody, man. This isn't right. It's not just being strong for, I just need to be solid. You know, I think I am strong. I think my worry is that I'm wondering if I'm okay with being weak. Because I think that's the harder thing. Being weak. I'm fine with strength. You know. Anyway, the point is that even when these kinds of tragedies hit us, for some reason, Weird Al Yankovic chose to come off the stage, come along the side of the auditorium, and she picked Olga. She picked Olga. Why Olga? Why not the person behind me? You know, why not somebody who actually likes Weird Al? You know, who would have maybe gotten into it with him. Oh, sorry. You know? Why a mid-50s immigrant? Is it because I had my camera up? Is it because he saw my camera? Is it because he could sense that something was happening in that row, in that part of the theater? That's what I want to believe. Yeah, all right, I'm delusional. Sure. But history was made in my life. That was a memorable, that's probably a story I will tell forever. Because of not only its significance to me, but I don't know. What do you think? Did he sense something was happening and he wanted to come maybe heal? Or was it just, hey, look, a hot blonde, let me